Mr. Boston.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
And welcome to yet another episode of Kill James Bond. This is going out on the free feed. You're hearing this.
Hell yeah!
And you will get what you pay for. You'll get what you fucking deserve. Because, listener, you are about to enter into 2025 by being introduced to the concept of a protest episode.
My friend November is upset by
I am
you.
here against my will.
We respect the results of the election. There will be a peaceful transfer into 2025.
Listen, right? Elections are rigged.
Yeah.
Stop the steal.
For the backstory, for anyone who doesn't follow us on any social media account, and you are our strongest soldiers if you don't.
Yes,
but please do, because we held a little competition to pick our New Year's special episode. All right, I put some prompts on Blue Sky and X.com, the everything app. And the top 16 liked comments from all of these I put into a little bracket against each other. You got to vote on all of them. This is the one that won. This is your fault. You did this. We're watching the second Star Wars movie that they ever made. Star Wars 2.
Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones, baby.
Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones.
Why would you do this to me? I feel like the CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Johnson, in that I have been shot in the back when I least expected it. How could you do this to me?
I think that's a myth.
So we need to get something out of the way.
Yeah, we should probably address this
which
pretty
is
fast.
that listeners, if you were not aware of this, if you only listen to Kill James Bond and you don't follow any of my social medias, you may not know that I am in fact a professional actor when I'm not on this podcast, and I am in fact in Star Wars. I was in Star Wars in 2024. If you've heard of a little series called The Acolyte, I have a small role in that. So I like Star Wars, and I like everything about it.
Do they have like a non-disparagement clause?
Yes.
Literally, yes.
Yeah, as part of my goodwill gesture towards this, I am assuming that no Star Wars movies were made timeline-wise after this. I'm watching this movie and assuming that it is the most recent expression of Star Wars. I'm not going to touch Disney.
Despite the fact that I'm biased in that I like Star Wars and I had fun being in it, I also did actually kind of enjoy going back and watching Attack of the Clones again. Like, I don't think it's aged perfectly, but we'll get into this. But I think it's, it's all right.
I enjoyed the process of watching Attack of the Clones.
I did not, and happily, I signed a disparagement clause with Lucasfilm. They actually didn't want me to do this, but I came to Skywalker Ranch, I met with George Lucas, and I signed a disparagement clause, which means that I am obligated, for balance reasons, to say that this was, I think, maybe one of the most dire experiences I've ever had with a film. I've seen worse films, morally, aesthetically, technically, but just in terms of how I felt in a kind of subjective thing of the moment, you could have hooked me up to an ECG or whatever, and all of my brainwaves would have been like, this is a person who is being tortured, who is experiencing unpleasant. I was on a functional molecular level. I was welded into an oil drum.
You were like
moment.
Daniel Craig just getting your balls whipped watching this movie. No.
I was like Daniel Craig and fucking Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I was listening to Orinoco Flow suspended in a neck brace watching this fucking thing. And because crucially, right, of the episode 1, 2, 3, I had only seen episode 1 before. Not a Star Wars person. I'd only seen episode 1 when I was a kid. I had the Happy Meal. And that left little to no impression on me. And now, finally, decades later, I get to see where they were going with this, what they were cooking in the sequel to episode 1. And that's episode 2. That's Attack of the Clones.
The second Star Wars film.
I think there's parts of this that have actually aged quite well. But anyway,
there are specific moments.
Yeah. Anyway, we start off, as you know, with like the big old Star Wars opening. My notes say, to be fair, let's fucking go.
Yeah, you know what it is.
get the opening chorus.
Yeah, blockade runner.
Like,
Like,
it's
this is the
going
thing.
up the screen.
Yeah.
It's saying there's been multiple problems with the galactic trade routes or whatever. Like, you're locked in.
No, hang on a minute. Like, this is actually like fairly important stuff. So space Brexit is on the verge of happening. Like, the Republic is maybe falling apart. There are some systems that are maybe going to secede. And then the Republic are like, well, shit, the Separatists are armed. Maybe we need an army of the Republic, which doesn't exist. But like, maybe that's going to escalate the tensions.
Yeah.
Maybe the army should be helping the Jedi, who are cops. The Jedi are like religious FBI. If you're interested in that as a concept, you can watch a little series called The Acolyte.
The Jedi are a sort of ethno-religious group that at this point has become just a religious group, as far as I'm aware, similar to the Sith.
Yeah, a kind of ethno-religious group that populates the institutions of like law enforcement and intelligence.
They are,
like Mormons.
as far
Space
as I'm aware,
Mormons.
the only cops, the only sort of direct like troops even that the Republic has is this sort of religious order of Yodas.
Warrior monks.
And there's separatism. Why is there separatism? I'm sure there's an extended universe property to tell you.
You've seen it. It's episode 1. That's
it's episode 1. It's the galaxy. There are trade
When I
routes.
saw it, I was eating Happy Meals. You know how long it's been since I had a Happy Meal? It's been a minute, right? I don't remember what the causes of separatism were.
I don't know what the last meal I had. I was happy during.
Don't put me under oath to ask me when the last time I had a Happy Meal is.
When
This
is
like
the
the end
last
of
time you had a
fucking
Happy Meal?
Oppenheimer.
Wait a minute. And what is the uptime on this computer?
Now wait a second. Now wait a goddamn second.
There's about to be a vote in Space Parliament on whether we're going to create a space army for the Republic. And Senator Amidala, Natalie Portman, she's on her way to Space Parliament. She's Space AOC. She's going to vote on this.
Yes.
That's the opening crawl.
Yeah, she steps out of her
incredibly
spaceship?
sleek Naboo
cool ass
ship.
Naboo starfighter or whatever.
I do like the Naboo ship styles. I had the N1 starfighter. I had the Lego
one?
set of that, the yellow one. Yeah, that was kind of sick.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not going to say that a lot of this isn't going to be colored by nostalgia for me, but I will try to give as objective a view as I can.
My nostalgia came to a hard stop with episode 1, and not for any reason. Like, I just kind of had other stuff going on.
Yes.
By the way, before she actually lands, they get a guy coming in to be like, "Oh, we're about to land on Coruscant, the city planet where all the stuff happens."
Yeah, Space London.
Space London.
This when I watched this spawned about 20 minutes of argument in the room as to whether or not the movie was in the right aspect ratio, what the right aspect ratio was.
That is true. I watched the Amazon version. The aspect ratio
is a
odd.
wrong aspect ratio looking man in and of himself. I think he's just built that way. They built him in a widescreen format.
I think it's fine to have actors who have small roles in Star Wars, particularly if they are notably different proportions than all the other people of the scenes that they're in. That's very fine. Why is one of the witches a foot taller than everyone else? Don't fucking worry about it. So Senator Space AOC, Natalie Portman, steps off her spaceship and she gets blown the fuck up.
Yeah, she gets immediately clapped.
Kaboom.
By the worst explosion ever.
There's an explosion. I will state that at this point you've heard about 5 lines and nobody is like giving anything at all.
It's true.
It's
giving nothing.
It's like
it's subdued.
It looks like there was no danger at all, and then it explodes or whatever.
Yeah, kaboom.
She runs
Horrible
up to
CGI.
a sort of body double who is dying on the ground.
They got the wrong bit. They got the double.
Yeah, they got the double. She did her job right.
She's going through so many doubles, by the way.
And this double says to her, "I've failed you." No, you
you've
did
done
your
the
job
purpose of the thing
to a T. You've nailed it, babe. Don't worry.
You doubled perfectly.
You doubled as hell.
The real Natalie Portman survives, and at this point, we cut to guy I love to see, legendary Shakespearean British actor Ian McDermott. Who is the president of space?
True.
Yes, he's chancellor. He's president of space. He's Angela Merkel of space.
Of the parliament, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta have a leader.
You can do some real Kit Fisto moments or some real Glup Shitto moments in this.
You can.
When I was watching this, with Gwen, and she pointed at the screen and went, "Yo, is that Plo Koon?"
Yeah, it is.
Who the fuck is Plo Koon? Why do you know who Plo Koon is?
It's the fucking orange guy with the breather mask. Yeah,
what?
Plo Koon. He's
Kit Fisto's in it later on. But
Kit
anyway.
Fisto is in it later on. There's a lot of guys in the background of this that I might talk about.
We get our appointment for the Jedi High Council in this, which is Yoda. You know, Yoda, small green Muppet.
Yoda looks bad. Yoda looks real bad.
He does, real bad. CGI Yoda. They gave him retinoids and he looks weird.
They're in the exact halfway point between like practical effects and like CG looking good, and then as a result, we've got this sort of halfway measure of CG looking really bad.
What they did is they put the hair from Geralt in The Witcher 1 onto a Muppet. And they shouldn't have done that, and it looks really bad.
The other Jedi Master in the room is Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, Mace Windu.
Yeah, he's here. He's here. And Natalie Portman is here. And she's like, yo, they just tried to blow me up on the landing pad. I think it was Count Dooku. He's Space Nigel Farage. He's the leader of the Separatists. We haven't met him yet, but I'm pretty sure
examining this too closely through the lens.
He's sort
Brexit.
of like a Spexit guy.
Spexit.
I do like that Mace Windu's reasoning here is like, well, Count Dooku used to be a Jedi, so he couldn't have done anything bad.
Yeah.
As if the entire history of guys who have done something bad galactically is ex-Jedi.
Well, none of that's happened yet. But anyway.
Yeah, we set this up for the blind spot of like, well, a Jedi couldn't do something bad in the future.
It's a critical blind spot that's important to the plot. But anyway.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was complimentary. Not everything I'm saying about this is like a criticism. I just had a bad time watching it.
I will say most of the things I'm saying are. But this isn't.
Like 90%.
There's a slow zoom in every single shot, and it keeps doing shot, reverse shot, slowly zooming, and it reminds me of the AI Balenciaga videos so strongly.
Yeah.
It was harder for me to think of anything else.
But everyone is worried because this could be space Brexit, or it could be space civil war. And like, if it does happen, the Jedi aren't supposed to be soldiers. They're meant to be like the FBI.
Yeah.
And so Space President Ian McDiarmid, Chancellor Palpatine, is like, well, what if Senator AOC of Space, Natalie Portman, what if you were placed under the Jedi's protection for safety?
They're trying to kill your ass.
Yeah, what if we put you in the Jedi Witness Protection Program?
Yeah.
We got 2 Jedi who could do this.
Yeah, and you know that because they're old friends of yours.
Yeah, they met you in the last movie.
Yeah.
This is Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, some classic boys.
Yeah, it's Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor.
And Hayden Christensen as Anakin.
Hey, man. Hello to both of these guys.
Yeah.
Great job.
Hayden Christensen was 19 when he took this role, and he's the same age as Anakin. This was like one of his first big
I will say this is one of the most 19-year-olds, like, I'm not going to say performances because he does a great job, but like the character is the most 19-year-old person in the entire world. And
particularly like 2000s 19-year-old in the sense that he has a horrid little rat tail, which I want so violently to cut off.
He's got a horrid little rat tail and a little ponytail too.
True.
That is a specific Jedi haircut. That's a Jedi Padawan haircut. It marks him out as like trainee cop. This will become important later on.
Imagine if you were a trainee cop and they made you get a haircut to like demarcate that. That's awful.
Which is also weird because not all just like species who become Jedi have hair, so it must be only for the humanoid ones. Anyway,
I will say because like we're inside the Jedi Council and we see a bunch of the other guys, and there's all sorts here. There's like Wise Snake. There's a guy who looks like a Parasaurolophus dinosaur doing the Chad guy lips. I've become obsessed with the Chad Parasaurolophus. I love him so much.
I know exactly the guy you mean.
One of them has a back to his chair and the others don't, and I became obsessed into thinking about why one of them gets lumbar support and the others don't.
Yeah, there's a guy with a very tall head. That's Ki-Adi-Mundi. He'll be I don't know, important later, but he's present.
He's there.
There's Kit Fisto. There's a lot of Jedis.
But Anakin's nervous because he had a big crush on Padme when they were kids in episode 1. And he's like, shit, He really tries to impress her when they reunite because Padme's like, I want you guys to find out who the killer's supposed to be. And Obi-Wan's like, no, we're just security. We're not detectives. And Anakin's like, I will 100% find them for you, Queen.
Yeah, it's implied in our mandate or whatever.
They bicker about this,
It's really, in some ways, as bad as being James Bond to get a main role in a Star Wars film in a lot of ways, in that it's one of those things that often you end up as Hayden Christensen was thrown into it at a very young age, and then it's kind of like catch and kill, right? Whatever else you want to do, the rat tail is on you for life. you know.
Ewan McGregor did all right out of it. It's just like, Ewan McGregor
It's
did all three.
He does a
Yeah.
fine job as Anakin Skywalker. I'm not going to criticize him.
It's interesting as well because his acting in this one in particular became a meme. As people were like, he's so bad. In the same
It's
way
all the
that
writing, to be honest.
Well, in the same way that like people criticize Keanu Reeves for The Matrix, and then you go back and you watch The Matrix now, and it's like, actually, his acting in this is fine. Like the character is written in a certain way, and he performs it in that way, and he's 19 and whatever. But I don't think he deserved nearly as much like shit as he got.
No, basically no one deserves any shit, certainly.
This is like an early case of like internet hatedom, which...
Are you suggesting, November, are you suggesting that the Star Wars online fandom has some kind of problem with directing hatred at actors? Are you suggesting such a thing?
I'm not even really speaking about fans here. Like this was such a huge like sort of cultural phenomenon that like the mainstream was like reacted inherently. There was a backlash to it because if you're like, here is my like $infinity trillion movie, and it's weird. Like you kind of see the same thing with Marvel, but not to the same extent. There were a very specific set of conditions for this. That when episode 1, 2, and 3 came out, it was just primed for this like cultural backlash to this, to be like, well, these were all shit because they're not like I remember the originals being, and we're just kind of being fed this kind of slop, you know?
Yes.
And I think that's got to be difficult for anyone, especially a 19-year-old. And you know, a lot of the criticism is like warranted, but it's not really about that. It's about the kind of like cultural valence of Star Wars and about the new Star Wars and being like, oh, they're trying to do something new with it and it fucking sucks. How dare they?
I wouldn't have a clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if I want to get into this like 60 minutes of the episode, but regardless, there's a lot of people that think that the new Star Wars stuff, like the post Disney acquisition Star Wars stuff, is like unbelievably cringe, is like unwatchable because of this. If you watch these movies and like it's the same performance, like this has been like Star Wars has been sort of cringe from the start. Like that's kind of the point. Like it is stupid. Like these are like famous actors having to say things like, I'm just gonna quote an actor. He's called Christopher Lee. I don't know if you're aware of Christopher fucking Lee. But he had to say this line.
It is obvious that this contest cannot be decided by our knowledge of the Force, but by our skills with a lightsaber.
The point is to take a Shakespearean actor and make him say some dumb bullshit. Like that's
it's
always
a humiliation
been the
ritual,
point.
yeah.
Like,
it's great.
Yeah, it's really fucking fun.
Yeah,
like it's good. I ironically love Star Wars.
and like so much of the criticism of this is like coming from a place of not just subjectivity, but like let's say the extremely personal, right? And I think the Star Wars didn't just fall out of the fucking like coconut tree. It exists within a context, you know.
Yeah, for instance, the rebels are fucking the Viet Cong. For one thing.
Like, just stealing a bunch of like World War II movies.
The Jedi are cops.
Yeah, the Jedi are cops.
Yeah. Ajab. Anyway, that night they're keeping watch over Padme and Anakin and Obi-Wan.
There's a couple of things I wanted to talk about, but when she first meets Anakin, first of all, he tries to riz her up, not just by being like, oh, we should investigate the thing. He also says that she has grown more beautiful. And her response to this is to say, you'll always be like a little boy to me, which...
Yeah, that's
knowing
a
the direction that this goes in is like...
we do get a scene between Yoda and Mace Windu where they go like, hey man, Yoda is like, we can't predict the future at this point. Should we tell anyone? And they're like, no.
Yeah, the Jedi are supposed to be able to do that.
Like,
but...
we get this impression that the Jedi Order, the point, like the way that they have become entangled with the Republic in this way is because they're like these sort of religious, like order of monks. They're like noble warriors. They can see the future, so they like help sort of guide things. And these are our two most powerful ones being like, we've lost the ability to see the future. Should we let them know? Nah.
That's fine.
Whatever.
if you are interested in why they might cover that up, the Acolyte goes into the fact that the Senate, a lot of people in the Senate are against the existence of the Jedi because they're essentially a kind of like ethno-nationalist FBI with superpowers.
It's true.
One of the best scenes in the Acolyte is when one of the senators is just like, I want to pass the anti-Jedi bill because fuck you guys, we should have elected cops, not you.
Facts,
oh, by the way, Jar Jar Binks is here as well.
Yeah, Jar Jar
just in
Binks
case you forgot about him.
Mr. Bustin'.
Cool, man. Congrats for
Thank
coming.
you. He's a representative now. We've elected worse.
Banned him from the bathrooms.
He's in Parliament. Jar Jar Binks? You guys are aware of Jar Jar Binks? You might have seen him in the first movie. Sort of he's got the big ears. He's like he goes Misa, that kind of stuff. You know?
Yeah.
He's a
Gungan.
senator in the Galactic Senate representing the country of Naboo, the city, the fucking planet even of Naboo.
Yeah. How many senators does Naboo get?
You'd hope 2.
Yeah, at least
2 races on the fucking planet.
Yeah, he's like the senior one, you know.
There's like there's normal there's like human guys. I probably shouldn't say normal. But I believe that's galactic standard, right? Human. There's humans, and then there's like Gungans. You should get 2 senators for that.
Yeah. Yeah, one per race.
He also somehow looks a little bit worse than he did in episode 1, which is they've really done some like movie magic here to make everybody look kind of worse. Also, there's another thing that I want to talk about here because there's a lot of scenes in Ian McDermott's office, right, as Chancellor Palpatine, where the office is all CGI.
Everything is CG. Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that's like a real object are like a couple of leather couches in the foreground, and so everything, the furniture and all this is CGI'd in. And I think I have a worry about this, right? Because the acting is all fine, but you're looking at this and it looks like one of those like old FMV games where it's like you've like rotoscoped or whatever 2 actors into like, you know, into nothing. And they shoot a lot of movies like this. I remember seeing the fucking Death on the Nile with Kenneth Branagh and Gal Gadot, and that being like mostly blue screen and a couple of like blocks. This is something that being mocked, but it was even less like obtrusive than this, right? And this is kind of something that we've seen happen with CGI that I worry about happening with AI, where you're like, oh, these early implementations of it look really clumsy and obvious, and then it just kind of got so normalized that you can shoot an entire movie this way now and it looks fine, and you wouldn't even necessarily know to say, oh, this is a bad thing necessarily.
I mean, I made this joke in the group chat. There are certain points of this that do look like Spy Kids 3D. There are certain points of this that do look like you're 10 years into a campaign where they let you get rotoscoped into the movie for a fee. Like, there are specific shots I'm thinking of where like none of these fuckers are even in the same room. Like,
it's grim. Yeah,
it's bad.
They took a big swing on this brand new tech, and we're very excited about it, but they didn't have it down yet, and it's a shame.
Yeah,
George Lucas loved some new tech, and we will get into some of that as well. But so it looks bad. So they're protecting Padme. They've turned R2-D2 into a combination burglar alarm and star map projector, which is really fun. She's upstairs and R2's like projecting, you know, like one of those like promoted viral tweet replies. Ladies, get the best star map projector.
Get the best vibrator.
Downstairs, Obi-Wan and Anakin are lightly arguing because Anakin is kind of chafing at being a Padawan. He's like, you know, my Jedi powers are actually great. Stop insulting my Jedi powers.
This is a classic. Like, we get a scene of the 2 of them in an elevator, and like we haven't seen them since episode 1, where they were like, one of them was young, one of them was older. They're both adult actors now, and they're like clearly have a huge off-screen like relationship between the 2 of them. Like, they're clearly like friends at this point. Like, you got them in the lift and they're like, we are friends, and it's like, cool. Next.
As far as screenwriting goes, Anakin does say that he would rather be dreaming about Padme than my mother, which curious.
Yes. Obi-Wan's like, you're a Jedi, you're not allowed to be horny.
Yeah, no, that's one of the main things you got to know is that the Jedi Order absolutely forbids you from getting horny.
They're like Volcel.
They don't fuck.
Well, they do fuck. They're not allowed to have attachment.
Yeah, that's true.
They can
They're not allowed
only
to
fuck.
have romantic attachments.
Yeah.
They can only get on Grindr at like fucking 3 a.m. and
Canonically,
start just going
Obi-Wan
for it.
does shag, but he just you can't love is the point. But anyway,
Anakin's like,
crazy.
no, I'm sick of like hanging out with you, getting a line here. Another lecture on the economics of politics, which
Cool.
However,
man,
across
totally.
town, we see a woman being paid off to go and like assassinate Padme.
yeah.
Which she does by taking delivery of a couple of little like worms. They found in worms.
Gets little
Whistle.
worms, little venomous worms. She puts them in a robot, and the robot secretes them into Padme's
The
room.
little like Hunter Schafer
pops some
drone,
worms in.
like sort of
What?
cuts open the. Because it reminds me of the bit from
Hunter
Dune
Schafer drone?
with the
It's
Hunter
really funny.
Seeker drone, and so I called it the Hunter Schafer drone. Yeah, what about this was obscure to you?
This drone doesn't look anything
The
like
Hunter
Hunter
Schafer drone, yeah. Was that not a kind of transparent thought process too?
No.
Yeah, deploys the Hunter Schafers.
Yeah, I remember when me and Alex and Hunter were hanging out at the tea lounge in New York, and Hunter just secreted a bunch of venomous millipedes everywhere. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we got that happens.
That
all
never
right?
happened. I've never
That's
been
one of
to
the
tea
things
lounge.
that you can do if you get on HRT before puberty. All right, like a lot of us don't have access to that.
Just secrete venomous millipedes.
Yeah, it's actually really like problematic. Yeah.
If you lock in, you could get the worm generating feet. And she uses her feet to generate these worms.
R2 fucks this one up because like
Yeah.
he forgets he has wheels, and so he's like scanning the room.
Yeah.
And these worms are like going around the other side of the bed, and he's like kind of detects something and doesn't trundle his fucking robot trash can ass around to the side of the bed to look.
Fucking R2.
Like he goes security guard mode. He goes observe and report. He's like, I'm not moving. You
Must
know?
have been the wind.
Yeah, but it sets off Anakin and Obi-Wan's like force sense, and they come in and like Anakin saves the day by
Yeah, they're both like chatting or whatever, and Anakin
Yeah,
just starts
about
running, and
politics and
Obi-Wan goes like,
economics.
"I sensed it too," before he starts running as well, just so
Yeah.
you understand that what's happened is that they've used the Force.
Anakin saves the day by like lightsabering these worms and almost
Yeah.
decapitating Padme, which is fun.
He goes in lightsaber first.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He doesn't hesitate to let it bark.
He does not hesitate to let it.
No, this is a movie about a guy who really could stand to hesitate before letting it bark.
If anything, he needs to hesitate
He lets it
way
buzz.
more.
Yeah.
That's his fucking arc. But yeah, no, he goes in sword first instead of grabbing with the fucking Force or whatever. And Obi-Wan, credit to him, jumps directly out of the window.
Yeah, and they're on like the
Yeah.
bazillionth floor
Yeah.
of a skyscraper, by the way. It's a space.
Yeah, this is Coruscant, baby. Like, there's
Yeah.
no ground. Like, you're just fucking, there's city the whole way down.
You'd
Yeah.
hate to force grab a worm. Like, if you, can you feel something you force grab is the question? Because if you can, you're holding.
You gotta
that
be
worm.
able to, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there must be some kind of feedback.
Yeah, you're touching that worm.
yeah,
you don't want to touch that worm.
I don't know.
Anakin's,
that
well,
one.
he's a Jedi. He's not allowed to touch his worm.
That's pretty why he uses a lightsaber.
Only
Right,
with
fair
that
enough.
attachment, yeah. So Obi-Wan jumps out of the window.
This is great. He does it like fucking Hitler in Danger 5.
Just immediately.
Yeah, he like grabs onto the Hunter
Obi-Wan
Schafer drone.
exits the function like James Bond exited the Spectre meeting. Just
One of the great out of the windows of all time.
Oh,
Yeah.
putting that together in a supercut with Hitler from Danger 5,
Yeah.
James Bond Inspector.
Yeah, with the
There
guy
are
from The
others.
Man from U.N.C.L.E. who just falls out of the window slowly.
Also, you're that
Yeah.
high up. You don't have safety glass? Like, it would have been funny if he just go boom and bounce off.
Yeah, no. They don't have safety glass in Coruscant. You could just dive out of the window.
Well,
Cool.
Jedi glass detempering powers. Meanwhile, Anakin goes and gets the car, and there's an extremely necessary shot of him backing the car out of a parking space,
Yeah.
which is just really funny
It
to
can
me.
fly. Go up.
Uh-huh.
Everything about the
what-
fucking speeders is so good.
I love the
It sets
speeder.
into like a big
Stupid.
chase in the sky, and it's
This
like
is sick. I
you
like
could fly anywhere, man. Just get out of the lane.
I start to think at this point that the more speculative aspects of Star Wars are just a plot by Big Dorling Kindersley to do more Dorling Kindersley illustrated Star Wars things, to be like, and here's how we think this works, you know?
I like the speeder chase. It's cool.
It's a car chase. It is a car chase.
Anakin like picks him up, and then they have a fun bit of back and forth where like Obi-Wan's like, "What took you so long?" He's like, "I couldn't find a speeder that I'd like." At this point, we identify a problem. So there's a principle in screenwriting that after you've finished drafting, you should cut 20% of what you've written.
I don't know that occurred.
Yeah, Coco Chanel. Take 2 things off.
And it's painful to do that, but it will make it leaner, and it will, because you will cut out the 20% of stuff that you don't need.
Yeah,
so what
like
we have here are,
stuff, you know,
we have
like...
6 lines here. They go back
Kill
and
your
forth.
dogs.
Annie, Obi-Wan, Annie, Obi-Wan, Annie, Obi-Wan. He goes, "What took you
Kill
so
your
long?
dogs.
Couldn't find a speeder I liked." And it's like, pick 2.
Weird that they
Just
said
pick
that.
2.
Yeah.
Pick the 2. What took you so long? Couldn't find a speeder I liked. Cool, bull. That's
Bam,
great.
bam,
That's
bam,
great.
bam.
Bam,
Yeah,
bam.
if you
Just keep
spent
it
half as
slick.
long practicing your lightsaber powers as your
You-
wit,
you'd
could
be as
rival
sick
Master
as-
Yoda or some shit like that.
Cut
It's
it.
like,
Which
get that out of my
is
script.
also not funny, crucially. Like,
But just the back and forth, that's funny.
To lean into this point, like that's the problem, is that like George Lucas as a director, and I love you, brother, if you're listening, which I know you are. Hey man, how you doing? But like, get that goiter looked up. But like, he can't fucking stop putting things in. Like, he cannot stop. Like, this is something you'll know if you are a fan of the, like, if you're aware of the like hand shot first debacle, right?
oh god.
Like, he cannot stop being like, "Oh, actually, this doesn't reflect too well on my characters. Let me put like 5 extra lines in to sort of reference things or like make things clearer or things like that."
Also,
it's
anytime
the opposite of good screenwriting.
some new technology comes out, George Lucas goes back into the things that he owns.
He's like,
or
rotoscope
owned,
me 10
and-
more freaks into this film now.
Yes.
Now.
Yeah. This like interstitial shot. This needs like 6 guys that look like they came out of a screensaver.
Someone needs to be doing something in the background. Someone needs to be poking a screen or something, and it's every shot.
It's like a very human impulse to be like, I want to make my constructed world feel alive. However, it is done with like no storytelling instinct whatsoever.
It's a 2-hour and 20-minute movie, and I maintain that it would have been a lot better if you've got to get it under 2 hours.
Yeah, no, fully, definitely.
This is the thing about all of these, is they kind of defy editing, because this is why you need the like ruthless corporate fist of Disney to do these things, you know, because if it's just left to one Californian autistic man, he will put in all of the things he's interested in. He will show you all of his toys.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that the movie feels like it was made by people, which I like. I kind of like its flaws for that reason. Cards on the
It's
table.
also made by a person.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Rather than a committee. But anyway, they crash land and they follow the assassin into a club. My notes say, "You can bring weapons in here?"
Yeah, they can just walk into the club.
They fly through the gas flare district on the way in. There's some jokes about some commuters.
Yeah, you get a line from Obi-Wan
You
that's
got the
like,
line?
I don't have the line specifically, but I got it written down here, where he goes, "Anakin, how many times have I told you to keep away from power couplings?" Which is one of the things that you put in if you want like the banter between them, but I don't know what the fuck you are talking about.
They're also
Get rid of this
assuming
shit.
the assassin's gender, and then Obi-Wan says, "I think he is a she," which would have been a good drop, but I couldn't work the new mixer. Sorry.
They go into the club. They go back to the club.
Yeah, they go into the fucking cantina is what they
hit the
go into,
club.
because
Yeah, they go back to the club.
immediately Obi-Wan's in the thing for 2 seconds, and then this scruffiest looking guy you've ever seen. Gender for some of you, I'm sure.
What, you're talking about Elan Sleazebago?
That's this character's name. His character's name is Elan Sleazebago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sidles up, and is that actually his fucking name?
That is his real name. That's
Are
the
you
character's
shitting me, dog? What are you?
I think it could be something like Sleazebagano or something like that, but it's like, no matter
it is
what.
Sleazebagano.
Yeah, so
Sorry,
fucking
yes, I've just double-checked.
Luigi Mangione walks up to this fucking guy and goes, "Hey, do you want to get like a fucking death stick, pal?"
Do you want to buy some
And he
death
go-
sticks?
And he does the like, "You don't want to buy me. You don't want to sell me death sticks.
Just
You want to
Jedi
go
mind
home
trick.
and rethink your life."
You want to
kind of thing.
shoot the CEO of United Healthcare?
This
Brian
is
Johnson.
cute. I like this exchange. It's funny. Keep this one.
It's
This
like,
is
I
good.
want to go
This is
home
fine.
and shoot United Healthcare CEO Brian Johnson.
Must kill Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson's the lead man of AC/DC. Brian Thompson is the guy who was killed.
Oh
Is
shit! Oh,
Isn't that the guy who tried to
Whatever.
ban video games?
Kill that guy too. I don't care.
Wait, the guy from Law and Order? What?
Sorry, hang on. Let me look this up. Keep going.
it is. Brian Johnson is the frontman of AC/DC.
Brian Thompson is an actor from
so
the Terminator.
they try and kill fucking John Bon Jovi.
Yeah, no,
or whatever
Brian
the
Thompson
fuck.
is the guy. You're right. Sorry.
I don't care.
Yeah. They send Luigi out there and he gets it fucking done.
So the assassin tries to sneak up on Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan spins around and cuts her arm off. They interrogate her.
Anakin's like to everybody else, stay back, Jedi business, just to really hammer in the point that they're just cops.
They're cops, yeah. This is
He's
one of
also
those
loving being able to say that too.
He rotates and uses the lightsaber instantly, and we know that the Jedi have like force powers with which they can use to like de-escalate situations. So that he goes for the lightsaber immediately. I don't know.
Reaching for a Jedi's service lightsaber.
Reaching for it from across the room because I've got the Force.
This is a classic like background shit. There's like they've got fucking. This is a sports bar, so like a bunch of the screens are showing things like speed race, like
Pazak
like pod
or
races or things
Droid
like that.
football.
Pazak. There's a bunch of beasts lumbering around on one of the screens, and I want to know what that is. I want
the Beast
so
Channel.
much
Yeah.
what the beast sport is.
That's Animal Planet. It's a whole
Got a
planet.
26-way parlay on Beast.
I actually for all my criticisms about rotoscoping in actors or like adding extra shit, some of the like billboard stuff in Coruscant is really funny. Like there are shots of like Star Wars alien species just like big thumbs up on like billboards and things like that. They're very funny.
Oh yeah,
like,
there's a Bith as one of the extras, and I go, holy shit, is that a Bith? That's a Bith. Completely unacknowledged,
Bith.
except by me. I love acknowledging a Bith. So I mean, this is the thing about Star Wars, particularly Lucas Star Wars, is that it's so sincerely trying to do world building that it's obviously right for parody. It's where all the like Blue Harvest Family Guy shit comes from, or like Robot Chicken or whatever the fuck. It's very easy to do.
Right.
It lends itself to a punchline because the whole thing is set up. If you're doing this, you can so easily construct a joke out of it. Of like, yeah, you got the lumbering beasts, you got the 4-dimensional chess. One of them is playing college football, and you just don't acknowledge it. That's a joke.
That's
like
funny.
Yeah, exactly. And so by the same token, you have this interrogation, and Jedi interrogation is inherently a pretty funny bit because they're nice guys who don't want to do anything to you, so that all they can really do is go, who hired you? And when you go, I don't want to tell you, they go, please?
Come on.
If you would like to explore this concept in more detail, there is a series called The Acolyte in which they use Jedi mind tricks to interrogate people, and it is deeply unethical.
Yeah. The guy's fucking helmet is cool. I'm not afraid to say it. The Acolyte, the design looks sick.
It was good. It was a good series. Manny was good. Anyway,
but I mean, it's the same thing. Whether it's the Acolyte or Andor, that's just a serious interpretation of the same thing of like taking this very sincere world building and being like, well, what are the implications of this? What can you do with this?
Yeah. So they get this fucking like bounty hunter, and they're like, "Who hired you?" And they go, "I'm gonna tell you who hired me in just like 2 or 3 seconds."
Yeah.
Is like beautiful, like GoldenEye 64. What happens is she gets shot with the dart that turns you into a Winamp skin?
Yeah, they say that this person is a changeling, and then they don't actually show them changing, but that like anyway, they
She's
die and it turns
shape-shifting
into a
alien.
bug thing or whatever.
Turns back into a bug alien.
This person's called Zam Wessel. I would need to give a shout out. I love the helmet and like veil combination that they've got going on.
That's
cool.
Yeah.
I don't know why they took it down.
And they see a guy blasting off a jetpack
Yeah.
in the
they're
distance.
like,
He's obviously the person who shot.
that guy's fucking Maori. I know that guy's Maori. We have to kill him.
Yeah.
Hunt him
World famous in New Zealand.
Looks a bit like Boba Fett from the original trilogy, if you know who that is.
He's wearing a very similar sort of set of armor as Boba Fett, but a different color and cleaner. I don't know.
Weapons are part of his religion.
Cool.
You set this shit up. It's not even fucking Mandalorian. Anyway,
You can say this shit, but you can't read it, George.
Cultural appropriation.
So at this point, the Jedi High Council, the Jedi chiefs, they're like, yo, Obi-Wan, track down the bounty hunter who had the assassin assassinated, so find out who's behind the plot to kill Senator Amidala. Anakin, in the meantime, I want you to take Padme to the most romantic planet in the world. Do not fuck her, crucially.
If you fuck her, that's going to be a real problem.
Yeah, witness protection 2 on the fuck planet, Space Italy.
Space Italy.
Space Italy.
And on your
Spittily.
way, go and say hi to Ian McDermott, who's definitely not evil. And Ian McDermott's like, I'm not evil, Anakin. I think you're based as fuck.
Not evil, Anakin.
I am not evil. Yes, this is cool. And as they're leaving, by the way, Senator Amidala, and this is Representative, talks to Jar Jar Binks and goes, "You will be acting senator during this period.
Yeah.
Jar Jar Binks, you are now in charge of representing Naboo to the Galactic Senate. Thank you." Next
What does he say, Dev?
He goes,
Mr. Boston.
"Good for him." And good for him.
This is the funniest day in Naboovian history to be surpassed by every subsequent day in Naboovian history.
Yeah, fucking Naboo, Chapo, Trap House are out there being like, I cannot believe we're being represented at the Galactic Senate by Jar Jar fucking Binks.
Mr. Boston.
So I really like the functionalism of some of the stuff of well, we need to show her packing bags. How would we do that? So she has some weird shaped space Samsonite for one scene.
Space
And
luggage,
it's just
yeah.
it's really good.
Yeah.
It's just invent some shit for this, and someone's
Whatever.
gonna have to write a Wikipedia page for it.
Yeah,
Just
they are.
grab a fucking random prop from the fucking storage
Yeah.
room and someone is gonna have
Greeble
to be like,
something.
no, that's a kind of thing from from the fifth dimension.
Pointing at a guy,
Whatever.
greeble something.
Greeble that shit now.
Start greeble. She's
Greeble me.
wearing weirder and weirder hats throughout
Yeah,
as well.
Padme Amidala, number one step for going undercover as you pose as a refugee. Definitely never don't wear a crown. You're going to want to be wearing a crown the whole fucking time.
They're going undercover as a refugee to take civilian transport to Naboo. Anakin does not change his hairstyle. He might as well
No.
be wearing the fucking cop badge. He's got the Jedi haircut.
Guy dressed
does.
normal
He's
but with a cop hat is a good bit.
Yeah.
Completely undercover except for my cop hat, which I am required to wear at all times.
God, so cool.
So meanwhile, Obi-Wan has to go to the 77 trillion year old diner that still makes coffee the old fashioned way.
Well, before he does, he voices to Yoda. He's like, I don't think Anakin's ready to go alone on a mission to the fuck planet and not fuck the woman. And he's too arrogant. And Yoda's like, yeah, more and more young Jedi these days are arrogant. They're too much on their damn phones. Which we get this theme that the Jedi don't really know what they're fucking doing anymore. which I
Yoda
really
asleep
like.
at the fucking wheel is the
Yeah.
point
On their
of
phone
this. Yeah.
too much, Jedi. Yeah, no, things like this.
So Obi-Wan goes to the old diner. Why is there a diner?
Obi-Wan visits the fucking diner. He talks to Dexter Jetster.
You gotta eat.
he meets Bob from Bob's Burgers.
Yeah. But he's got four arms.
Ronald Falk. I really thought it was John Goodman for a good couple of seconds, but it isn't.
Should
It's
have been.
Ronald Falk.
Should have been.
And this guy who says the word cloners like a slur.
He's like, they're
is like-
cloners. Yeah.
It's like, what? I don't know if you can be talking like that. I genuinely don't. I don't even know what species this guy is. I genuinely don't know if you can be talking like that.
One of those things where you walk up to a guy, can you inform me if you can be talking like that, white baby? Can you let me know if that's acceptable? But he goes, nah, man, they're all fucking cloners out there.
Yeah,
These
fucking cloners.
long neck ass white boys out in fucking in the wet
The planet is called El Camino.
It's called
El
El
Camino.
Camino. Yeah,
He also,
absolutely.
so
La
he
Camino.
identifies the dart as having come from Camino, which I don't know. I would have used a less distinctive weapon, but whatever. But also,
Well, you go to war with the dart you have.
That's
there's
facts.
something interesting here, which is that he says, "I'm surprised the Jedi archives couldn't identify it." And again, we get this theme that the Jedi are they don't really know what they're doing. They're a bit shit.
The Jedi seem to, I really like this. I will say, for George Lucas's sake, the Jedi seem like a completely stayed power. Like they seem like they've been dominant for long enough that they've forgotten that threats can exist. And I really like that.
This is made explicit in the following scene.
Island
When
gigantism.
Obi-Wan goes to Space Trinity College Library,
He does, he clogs into this.
yeah, he goes to the library and he's like, "Where's the planet Camino?" And the librarian's like, "Well, if it's not in our records, it doesn't fucking exist. We know everything that's worth knowing." And he's like, "That's got to be bullshit. It should be here somewhere."
Yeah.
And then
I'm
he
going to
figures
go and
out.
talk to some 5-year-olds about this.
He goes and asks Yoda in the middle of teaching his class.
And because it's Star Wars, the person who says no has a fucking whole Wikipedia page. It's called Jocasta
course.
Nu. She's got a whole biology and everything.
Dude.
Oh, yeah.
But she goes, no, man. If the fucking records don't have it, it doesn't exist. Shut up.
So he
cunt."
goes to Yoda's class of younglings who are all wearing the training helmet from Star Wars.
Yeah, don't get attached to these younglings. are
Yeah.
fucked. They're fucked
And
soon.
these younglings are like, favorite activity not being cut apart with lightsabers.
Yeah.
They're like,
Honest to God, mine too. Fair's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like Obi-Wan pulls a great piece of Jedi smugness here because, as we know, Jedi are the smuggest power in the universe, right? If only there was a show investigating this. And he goes, I don't know the answer to this thing, so I'm going to present this as a teaching problem to children, and then when they solve it, go like, yeah, great job. That's exactly what I was thinking. So he goes, this planet, it should be here. A fantastic
All the
piece
gravity effects are right? Like it should be here, but it isn't.
the relational location of this is really funny if you think about it in space terms, where he says it should be here, just south of the Rishi maze.
Yeah.
What does south mean in this context?
Full disclosure, I feel like I was trapped in a Rishi maze for about 3
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, I think we all were.
And
Yeah.
we've gone south since then, so.
What is going to Wikipedia for the concept of south? What did you mean?
What do you mean by that?
This is a galaxy
You mean
map.
below the fucking ecliptic? Anyway.
Yeah, but so this kid who's just named Liam is Liam. Is like, yes, it's probably where you think it is.
Yeah, well, like
Great,
if it's there,
thanks.
maybe it was deleted from the
Someone
archives.
deleted it from
Yeah.
the Jedi archives, but only a Jedi could have done
And Yoda
it.
goes, that's fascinating. Anyway.
That's fucked up.
I got
Fucked
some
up,
problem
that
with
is.
Yoda. I'm going to get madder at Yoda as we get on.
Yes,
But like
yes.
at this point, Yoda is fine. I'll
Yeah.
talk to you about Yoda later. There's also a point, sorry, where fucking Obi-Wan is like a droid racist, where he like says to Dexter Jettster, like, I don't know that have the rest of this statement, but he just says, if droids could think X.
We'd all be out of a work.
You're besties with like 4 of them.
You know droids can think.
Yeah.
You used one of them as a star projector.
Yeah.
But so meanwhile,
But the
Anakin is like
whole
doing.
time, Anakin
Yeah.
is going romance mode.
Anakin has negative Riz.
He's so pathetic.
My man is a Riz vacuum.
He's not there yet. They're still pretending to be refugees. They haven't arrived on the fuck planet yet. One thing we do see, just for some reason, again, we love to do this. We love to introduce one thing that has so many fucking implications and then not think about it. We see a droid get refused service at a kind of droid segregated lunch counter. Which,
Yeah.
what
Again,
was it
real-
going there for? What
Why did they
what?
want fucking sausage? What are you talking about?
Why is there? I mean, okay, there's anti-droid race. There's going to be a prestige series investigating this with a bunch of character actors playing the droids.
There is.
Yeah, it's called Solo, a Star Wars tale,
Yeah.
where
Oh my
like the fucking droid has like a droid uprising,
rights,
and then
yeah.
afterwards they're like, okay, let's go back to imagining that this is stupid.
We see Anakin falling into one of the classic pitfalls of any religion. I've done this, of being like, well, maybe if I do my own interpretation of the tenets of the thing, I can basically do what I want. That's fine, right? That's not going to get me in trouble with anyone.
The Jedi code is
It's more of
getting
a vibe.
pussy leads to jealousy, jealousy
Yeah.
leads to fear leads to a dark side, etc. Things of this
Yeah.
nature.
You can't have
But what if-
attachment or possession, but you are supposed to have compassion. And Anakin tries to like.
Compassion for the pussy.
Yeah, Anakin's sort of like, well, I can have compassion for your pussy, maybe. And Padme even says, you're making me uncomfortable.
Yeah, he can't stop. I had this written down. He gives off such like your little brother's friend vibes. Like he's been obsessed with you since he was 13 and he saw you in a bikini for the first time and he can't stop. He's coming around
Gross.
all the time. Yeah, no. This is a classic thing.
He's 19 years old and he's only ever socialized with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's a complete fucking like kissing virgin. It's like, of course he's a
Also true.
weird little fucking creep. Also, he's been told that he's all powerful and is going to save the universe.
Yeah.
It's like,
You
of
gotta
course
stop
he's a
telling
fucking
kids
weirdo.
that.
They go to the fuck planet,
Yeah,
which
they go
is
to
like
Space
Como.
Venice. Everyone's worried about space Brexit.
Spanish.
The new queen says the day we stop believing in democracy is the day we lose it. And I'm like,
Lib
yes.
shit.
You get a
lib
physical
shit.
shot for the first time in the entire movie, and it looks like leather grey's better than anything
yeah,
else. You see like a physical set, and you're like, whoa, because all the rest has been computer.
Yeah. They're hanging out next to Space Lake Como.
Yeah, Anakin launches into his classic.
This is where we get the sand.
Yeah.
The sand
I hate
moment.
sand. It's rough. It's coarse.
it's
It
rough,
gets everywhere.
He grew
Unlike
up on
you.
Tatooine. Of course he hates sand. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
This guy hates
from
sand.
Tate.
Maybe.
There are yeah, it's just that there are, that line
Tatooine is
was
a
much
backwater.
mocked. And it's like, yeah, it could have been written better, is why it rings falsely to people, you know. But
they kiss and Padme pulls away. And they're like, they're starting to develop some chemistry. Like the scene where they're by the waterfalls and they're chatting politics is actually, starting to get on a little bit.
Chatting politics is fun because, first of all, they clearly do not teach civics at the Jedi Academy.
No.
Because he's like, yeah, what if there was just a dictator? Not me, though, but like, what if there was like a cool guy who could just figure it all out? Not like these fucking politicians.
Yeah.
I like one politician.
The whole Anakin subplot is so funny because he's like, he spends the whole time being like, well, here's a direct quote.
I don't think the system works.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Yeah,
he says that, and he meets a bunch of guys, and the guy says something like,
I fear the Senate is powerless to resolve this crisis.
This is his whole time. Is he spending the time being like, I want to get pussy, A. B, democracy doesn't work. C,
it's like 90% of young men now.
the Darth Vader leitmotif is sneaking its way into the fucking soundtrack right now.
Yeah, no, they're paraphrasing that shit like crazy.
Yeah,
like,
this movie was ahead of its fucking time.
Past something without like, the shadow of Vader behind him, Vader's theme, a trash can falls on his head and it looks kind of like the Vader helmet. He's like, casually in conversation, like, oh man, it would suck if I got like all my arms and legs cut off and thrown into some lava. Like, it's not subtle. It's a movie for children.
Darth Vader.
He's on his way to some incel shit. Like he's listening to Space Joe Rogan. Undoubtedly,
he actually is the funniest part that he is like
That's
properly
true.
a space incel because
Yes.
like they don't want me to get pussy.
They don't want me to get pussy because they want me to be cocked. Obi-Wan wants me to be cocked because he's jealous of me.
Meanwhile, Obi-Wan is going to the pissing down with rain planet El
Sorry,
Camino.
there's one more thing I want to highlight is when they're by the fireplace and Anakin's just like, I'm totally in love with you and I desperately need to get pussy. Natalie Portman's like, we can't do that. I shouldn't have kissed you. She is wearing a leather corset and bead choker, and I'm like, girl, you know that this guy
Settle down.
has never fucked. He is down outrageous. He's like busting already just looking at you. You can't be wearing that shit around him. You are teasing this man.
Look, this man is down so bad that he is going to change the fucking history of the galaxy.
This is true.
You need to settle.
I think these discourses of like leading men on by clothing are like so regressive. Anyway,
yeah, it was her fault because she was dressed like a slut.
I have a trans feminist analysis of this movie. Anyway, so there's
Oh, good. I've been looking to get
we
into
are
that.
we are intercutting these two things of like Obi-Wan and Anakin. We'll get rid of all of Anakin stuff too. He like levitates pears at her.
Yeah.
They have zero chemistry, by the way.
He does a bit where he pretends to be thrown from a nerf and killed. It's not a nerf. It's I don't know what a nerf
He
is.
rides a Nubian animal and then like
Nerf.
it's laughing. They're in the fields. It's pretty.
Yeah, he gets onto like a big-assed kind of like local animal and gets thrown off there. Don't worry, it's fine.
Functionally, to me, this is a nerf. But like his deal is like, I'm dead,
It's nerf or nothing.
and Padme goes to like check on him and falls in love with him a bit. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan is going to the pissing down with rain planet El Camino.
Yeah.
Where he is met by a couple of very long-necked people.
My notes say these aliens look like trans models do now because they're all just like really tall and really thin and have really big eyes. Yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever.
But I just think this is kind of an unhealthy role model to be putting forward.
It is.
I like that one TikTok by the one where the one alien trans woman that's like, you got to eat, whether it's ice cream or whatever.
I'm hitting on one of these aliens on a flight, not realizing she's a famous model. Anyway,
but so they go, oh, you're from the Jedi, cool. We've almost finished the army of clones you ordered. You, the Jedi ordered.
Yeah. It's 10 years ago, Jedi Master Cypher Diaz placed an order for a clone army. And Obi-Wan's like, that's weird. Cypher Diaz has been dead for like 11 years.
Like, dude, you got an authorization for this clone army? You got a license for this clone army?
We paid you for this?
Absolutely twisted, checking your my orders section, being like, clone army? What the fuck? When did I do
nobody
this?
notice the funds being transferred for this? Like,
listen, sometimes you can just fuck around and you can get on the internet and you can buy a clone army And it's these things happen.
Nobody
what you're going to want to
notices the
do is you're
money
going to want to hit
inside?
that 30-day returns.
Yeah.
You're going to package up the clone army, and it's just a QR code now. It's surprisingly easy, and then you just send that right back. It's all good.
Just get on the thing. Just be like, I'm not going to be home for my clone army getting delivered. All right, you can leave it in a safe place.
Space Parliament haven't even had the vote yet to whether or not we're going to have
We've
a clone
tried
army.
to reach you to deliver your clone army. It's just like a photo of a clone army.
Bullshit! I was in. It's Coruscant. Everyone is always in.
I watched you fucking fly past me.
Being
I was at
thrown
home.
across the
Yeah.
fence.
What do you mean I wasn't on the planet at the time? I was on the planet all day.
Classic problem, honest to
But
God.
so Obi-Wan goes into the parking lot, and essentially what he does, this is a beautiful piece of like operational security, is he goes into the parking lot on speakerphone and goes, "Hey, have you guys heard about something called a Manhattan Project? do you guys know anything about a Manhattan? Like it's a secret clone army."
Are you, you guys aware of this? We got some clones going out here?
And the Jedi are like, no, we didn't
What?
order a fucking
No?
clone army. No.
Yeah, no.
Obi-Wan also learns that all the clones are clones of a bounty hunter named Jango Fett.
Yeah, and he meets him. He meets
does.
him, and he's like, and his young son.
A little
They
clone
both
called
have New
Boba.
Zealand
Oh
accents,
my
which
God,
we appreciate.
You caught me for doing. I've been cloned.
Unhooking your bra, your tits are fantastic.
Sorry, God, that got me.
It's
Your puts are fantastic. You're looking good, man. You're looking good.
yeah, and
And Obi-Wan's like, you ever done any crimes? And Jango's like, no.
Obi-Wan's like, hey man, you must have you must remember Sifo Dyas, the Jedi Master, who like hired you to do this. And
Never heard
Jango
of him?
replies,
I was recruited by a man called Tyrannus on one of the moons of Bogdan.
yeah, totally, brother.
lines. That's script writing.
That is explained later on.
Check this out. Me when I've just been Shanghai to serve on the Russian front.
I was recruited by a man called Bogdan.
That's cool.
Very good.
There is quite a cool reveal that when the clone army are in uniform, they kind of look like proto stormtroopers.
Yeah,
Kind of
cool
look like
reveal.
stormtroopers.
weird.
But like if stormtroopers were all New Zealand, yeah.
Every stormtrooper is Kiwi. That's canon. That is
That's
canon.
fucking canon.
I can't remember this actor's name, but like, big salute to this guy. He is the guy who played Boba Fett as well. He also voices all of the clones in all of the animations. Like he took this
Well,
role
you
and
would,
just
wouldn't you?
ran with it.
His
Like,
name is
yeah.
Tamura Morrison. He does a great
Hell
job.
yeah.
Shout out to
Nice. Yeah, it's kind of like playing fucking what's the guy's name in Dune? Not important. We'll go past it anyway. So
I could have got
meanwhile,
that, but that's
back
fine.
on. Dude, the guy who dies all the time and keeps getting cloned back. What's his fucking name in Dune?
Shit, Duncan Idaho. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Duncan Idaho,
He's
right?
like
If you're
the
cast to
Golar of
play
Duncan
Duncan Idaho,
Yeah.
you will have a job for the rest of your life, right? Because you're
Yeah,
always
fact.
coming back.
Which is crazy because the guy that they did cast to play Duncan Idaho cannot fucking act next.
Jason Momoa?
Yeah, fucking yeah, Jason Momoa. Did you see Dune?
Yes, I
Come
quite like Jason Momoa's
on.
performance. I liked him in a lot of things, actually. I think he's good.
Whatever.
Yeah, but so yeah, he has the kind of Duncan Idaho thing where like anytime they need a clone, they got to get that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Job guarantee.
We got a Maori guy's DNA on fucking lock, all right? You want a clone?
Yeah.
Here he is.
Obi-Wan's
hello,
like,
I'm a
you ever done
clone."
crimes? And he's like, no. And also, I have to leave suddenly.
Just like asking the newly born Maori clone whether he knows someone who's famous from New Zealand. Like, oh, do you know Jermaine Clement? And just resignedly being like, yes.
Yes, obviously I know
Yes,
Jermaine Clement.
what if it's South African then?
Look,
As
well,
Django
they're
is
the
trying to
same.
fly away, Obi-Wan like tries to chase him. They have a bit of a fight. Django has a silly missile on his backpack.
He has the fucking central missile on his
Yeah.
backpack, which is so fucking funny.
Obi-Wan loves dangling from things. He spends so
does.
much of this movie dangling from stuff, which is not something that you saw in Alec Guinness's performance. He barely dangled from anything.
Yeah.
In fact, he fucked up when he could have been dangling.
He
He
should have
shimmied
dangling
around
more.
stuff.
Yeah, I need to see more dangling Alec Guinness. Meanwhile, back on the fuck planet, back on the fuck planet, Anakin is like doing his first day of standing normally lessons. He's not
Yeah.
doing a great job.
Yeah. He's had a nightmare about his mum, innit?
Yeah.
He is. He has non-stop nightmares about his mum. He's like, oh shit, Shmi is in danger.
And he's like, my mum Shmi is in danger
My
on
mum, his name is
Tatooine.
Shmi is in danger on Tatooine.
We gotta go back to Tatooine.
Yeah.
Even though I was told to stay here.
In space Italy. And I was also
Yeah.
told to let my mother go.
I know it's canonically a backwater, but don't worry. For the 8th movie in a row, we have to go to Tatooine.
Yeah.
Stop
because-
going to Tatooine! There's nothing interesting on Tatooine. I don't care if you call
That
it
was the
Jakku,
point of it.
All right?
Yeah, what if it was Jakku instead?
What if it was identical, but we called it something else? No! Stop going to a desert planet just because there was one in Star Wars. Stop it. It's
Desert
not
planet,
good.
easy to shoot on. But so
Desert planet. We filmed this in Tunisia. All right, here we go.
go back to Tatooine, and they have to meet.
They have to meet
Watto.
a
Yes.
person who is racially coded in a way that I'm not interested in getting into.
Yeah, he's
Let's-
blue.
let's-
He's blue.
I don't know what's
Can we say
going on.
extremely anti-Semitic stereotype here?
No matter what,
and be done with it.
this is
Like,
very anti-Semitic.
Not my place to say, I don't think.
Fucking
the
what?
one other thing I remember about Watto, and this in itself is extremely anti-Semitic, is in reference to those Dorling Kindersley like Star Wars illustrated things. You know how they do the thing of like here's like a concept of the thing, we've labeled it, so we're like here's the the stormtroopers like blaster, here's what this equipment does. The one for Watto highlights his head and captions it mind focused on profit. And
Oh dear.
with his fucking broad-brimmed black hat.
He is an anti-Semitic caricature of the highest fucking order.
He's an
is
unhappy
Watto.
merchant.
Watto is
Yes.
crazy.
Watto is
I
not
don't want to
good.
get
but-
into him, but no matter what,
No.
bad.
He's Anakin's former owner, because Tatooine has
Yes.
slavery. So he used to own Anakin and his mum. And Anakin's like, "Where's me fucking mum, mate? I'm a cop now. I'll fuck you up."
But he's like, I sold your mum. All right, I sold your mum to a man by the name of Klieg Lars.
Yeah.
All right, he is a moisture farmer.
Just Klieg Lars moisture farmer in
Yeah.
and of itself
Yeah.
is like a vintage piece of Star Wars, right?
Farms
Like
moisture.
Someone's gotta.
I guess so.
yeah. So Anakin goes to the fucking moisture farm.
And hey, it's Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru's fucking house from Star Wars Episode 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The gay robot that he built, C-3PO, is there
Yeah.
looking scuffed as hell.
This is
Yeah.
crazy. It's actually fucked up that C-3PO and R2-D2 have been apart for like decades.
Yeah, I mean, it's real kind of like everything everywhere all at once, you know.
Yeah.
Other life, I would have loved carrying the Death Star plans around with you. So they drink some blue milk, which is, you know, fine.
Yeah.
And
Owen
then
and Beru are here.
we
Yay.
meet Klieg Lars, who introduces himself with what became a vocal stim for me very quickly.
I got it. Hang on.
Klieg Lars. Shmi is my wife.
Klieg Lars. Shmi is my wife.
Me is my wife.
Shmi is my wife.
Me is my wife.
Shmi her pronouns.
Hey, Shmi is my wife.
Her pronoun is about to be were, because she was kidnapped.
Oh, she
She was
gone.
kidnapped by Tusken Raiders. They lost
Tusken
26
Raiders.
men trying to get her back. I'm like, dog, those Raiders kicked your ass.
Yeah, no, you got owned by the Tusken Raiders, pal.
They
Sorry.
actually wanted her back. So like he's like, all right, Klieg Lars, it's fine. I will get your Shmi back.
Yeah.
He goes outside. He hugs Padme against the, you know, and the shadow against the fucking heart looks like Darth Vader. It
Does
looks
it?
like Darth Vader. It's
Does it?
cool
That's
because
funny.
yeah, it does. It's meant to look like Darth Vader. It
Hell
plays the
yeah.
little Vader theme. Be like, yo, that's Darth
Oh my
Vader.
god, he's gonna be Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get some sick music, some red skies. It's cool. He tears off into the sunset to find his mom.
He goes
angrily.
to speak to some Jawas about it.
Yeah.
Which, bro, do you speak Jawanese? Like, what are you doing?
He grew
here?
up on Tatooine, probably.
This is one of those moments where you see George Lucas as like meta guy who can do skyboxes, and it's like put him in a movie, put him in a movie.
Yeah.
Post
Really good skyboxes.
throw some fucking skies into this movie.
Obi-Wan has to go to the next location too at this point, which is fucking Geonosis,
It is.
which is the goth planet.
Yes. This is a sort of like rocky planet. It's inhabited by kind of bug guys. That's
they
all
build
you know.
they build the battle droids here. You know, the ones with the like weirdly Brooklyn accent from episode 1, underwater villages. Those guys, those guys come out of here.
We are beginning search for these rumored underwater villages.
Rumored underwater villages. Also a vocal stem. Thank you for that.
Underwater villages.
Shmi
is my wife. So they go out to the droid factory.
Yeah, so Obi-Wan discovers that the space Brexiteers are here, led by Christopher Lee, and they are building their own fucking army. They're getting ready for war.
Yeah.
He listens in on their conference, which is like the Trade Federation supports the separatism. Guy from
it's the Separatists. They're called the Trade Federation, the banking clan, which is evocative just for a race
mind
name.
Focused on profit.
I love
one of them is the Techno Union.
Yeah.
And the Techno Union guy looks like a robot. He's the
He
only
looks
one
like
we
a
see.
fucking tooth. He goes, the Techno Union Army is at your disposal, Count. Why did he touch that? He sounded fine to begin with. I don't know why he fucked with the thing. Next question. The Techno Union. What's up with these guys? What's going on?
They love listening to techno.
I'm excited for the prestige show that's really going to get to grips with like what's going on with the Techno Union. It's going to, it's cool that the only way you can get one of those shows made is within the prism of something that was mentioned in a Star Wars movie, kind of tossed off of.
This guy's name is Wat Tambor. I'm looking this up now.
Okay.
He's from the Techno
excited
Union.
for Tambor, a Star Wars story. And that's the only way you can get something made
Everyone
now.
in the Techno Union is a DJ.
I'll have you know, Tambor, a Star Wars story was fucking great.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're all weirdly good, but like, I'm not thrilled with the
acceptable.
monopoly. It's like, yeah.
I'm really looking forward to Tambor season 2.
Why is this cornering the market on? Anyway, so
whatever. They make a lot of movies, they make a lot of series, and then quietly they made the best fucking TV series of 2020. Just
One Way Out. That's right.
Crazy.
Meanwhile, Anakin commits genocide.
Yes, he does.
Anakin finds out that his mum was taken captive by the Tusken Raiders.
Who were going to
finds
menace her. She's like tied up with like leather straps.
Yeah, and then he just like
Hello.
starts
Having
swinging.
been menaced. She has like 2 little cuts and then dies of plot in his arms.
Yeah.
She goes, "My name is Shmi. I'm Klee Glaz's wife."
Yeah, Shmi, Clint Glass's wife. You know.
Shmi is my wife. And
The moisture
Zendaya
farmer
is
Klieg,
Michi.
his
Yeah.
wife Shmi. You're familiar. so Shmi
Shmi is my
fucking
wife.
dies.
Yeah, Shmi fucking dies.
Bereaving Klieg Glass and his moisture.
Yeah.
Shmi
Turning
is
him
my
into a widower.
ex-wife. Yeah.
Shmi is I'm Shmi's widower.
Shmi's my late wife.
So then, and she's her dying words are like, "Don't
Shmi was also a
become
slave."
Darth Vader."
Shmi was a slave. Yeah. She goes, don't become Darth Vader.
Yeah, Watto's out a slave now. Like he's fucked. But so,
Well,
at
he's
this
living on the
point-
street.
Yeah. I don't know what his problem is. I don't want to get into it. Anakin starts killing people.
Yeah.
He does. But he like kills everybody in the thing, and then comes back to Padme to cry about it.
Yeah.
He goes, I killed
All of this
everyone."
happened, to be clear, all of this happened because Liam Neeson was too cheap to buy his mum Shmi.
He just
on
bought
a
Annie.
on
Yeah.
a 2-for-1
What are you
offer,
doing?
basically. Like you could buy the kid's mum.
Even then, he would have had to leave his mum behind because you have to leave your family to join the Jedi.
Yeah, but she could have at least gotten like a little like bed sit on Coruscant or whatever, you know?
Yeah, she could have retired.
1300 PCM, no problem.
But by the way, he like wraps her body up in the same leather straps and like brings her back on speeders, like drops her off. And Klieg Lars is like, "Goodbye, my darling wife." Dude, you bought her as a slave.
And freed her.
Bought this woman, then freed her and married her. Pal. That's not
Dude,
romantic.
we're taking down that statue of Klieg Lars. He was not a good guy. I don't think the university hall should be named after him anymore.
Tatooine doesn't have a university.
Okay, sure, he had a lot of books, fine, but you know, we don't think about the consequences of these things.
We're tearing down the Klieg Lars building. It's over. All right.
Anakin tells Padme that he committed genocide. She takes this pretty well.
She does. Yeah, he goes, "Oh, I killed them all." This is the classic line: "The women and the children too." And then you hear the Darth Vader leitmotif start sneaking into the fucking soundtrack.
And she's like, "Being angry is human." And I'm like, "I don't know if there's a fucking line, babe."
Yeah, well, now, hold on. Did you hear what he said?
How down bad are you?
Yeah, for real.
For this like virgin 19-year-old dick girl? No, you're a senator. You can do better. You're space AOC.
So Obi-Wan gets fucking captured by Christopher Lee, and he puts him in a kind of like he just kind of puts him in a suspended thing and rotates him very gently, which is really funny because he's talking to him the whole time and he's not moving. So Obi-Wan's just like slipping. He's like slipping out of Obi-Wan's vision. He's like, wait, 1 second. I'm gonna come back to you. Just rotate around.
Yeah, slowly rotating him is so disrespectful.
It's funny. Obi-Wan's rotating and then Christopher Lee is like walking around the other way, like counter Obi-Wan wise. Yeah. So we get this like cool, silly spinning thing.
Yeah, Christopher Lee, he's got his script, and then he's got the second script he was handed by George 2 years after the fact that is like, oh, I was a Padawan to Yoda. He was my master beforehand, and things like that.
Yeah, you can see this on Dooku, a Star Wars story.
His name is Dooku.
Christopher Lee does fucking boss this scene. Yeah. He's very good at pretending to be a good guy. He's like, obviously this is all just a terrible misunderstanding. I hate to be imprisoning you right now. By the way, the Senate are super corrupt, which is why we're doing space Brexit. They're corrupt because they're under the control of a dark Sith Lord named Darth Sidious. He's secretly running the show. And then Obi-Wan's like, bullshit.
Obi-Wan's like, I don't fucking believe you. Wrong. I would say Dooku and Sifo Dyas, who is the name of the guy that like the fake Jedi that like started the Clone Wars army or whatever. Both Dooku and Sifo Dyas in Portuguese mean like something very untoward.
Really?
So in Brazilian Portuguese, this was changed. In Portuguese, this was left completely unchanged, which I really respect.
Also, I should be clear, an hour 45 in, still no Attack of the Clones.
Where are the clones? Can they attack?
Because
we've seen them. We're ready for them to attack.
Obi-Wan is like, don't worry, like the Space Senate are never going to pass Space Brexit and create the Space Clone Army. It's never going to happen. And Dooku's like, don't be so fucking sure. And we see that meanwhile back at Space Parliament, everyone's like, fuck, Space Brexit's a serious crisis. We need a kind of army, but the Senate's never going to vote for it. We're going to have to give the Space President supreme emergency powers to declare martial law.
This is worth noting. So they fucking have this discussion, right? Like they have this sort of like Palpatine and his 3 boys, one of whom is sort of like a hot woman, one of whom is a guy who he's sort of like
blue.
He's like a Twilight guy, right? He's got all this stuff.
Ideal circle.
Perfect blunt rotation. Anyway, he's going
perfect death stick rotation.
Like death stick rotation. Anyway, he's going, listen, man. It would be only a really cool guy would give us the sort of like powers to have our own army. Basically. Only a really cool senator, and then we zoom in on fucking Jar Jar Binks, who is going. Misa thinking Misa gonna like allow for the establishment of the Galactic Empire.
Imagine that being in the history books for the rest of time as like key figure in the foundation of the fucking empire.
Central.
He proposed the Enabling Act.
Jar Jar Binks gets up there as his acting fucking senator self and goes, Misa proposed that we make him the emperor.
Yeah.
And everyone goes,
not
and
yet.
They do.
Not yet. He's not the emperor yet. He gets given supreme executive powers and he says, thank you very much. First job, like job number 1, I'm creating a clone army.
I will get around to more evil stuff in the sequel.
He also promises to be Cincinnatus. He's like, I will lay down these powers as soon as the crisis is abated. I love democracy. I'm cool still. But also I'm creating an army.
I will become the Galactic Cincinnatus.
It's baby's first dictator stuff.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan managed to get a message to Anakin just before he was kidnapped by Christopher Lee. He's like, yo, don't come and rescue me. Tell the Jedi to do it instead. But then Anakin and Padme are like, fuck that shit. And they roll up into
Padme makes him, interestingly. She's the one who's like, well, you've got to protect me. So if I go, then you've got to come with me.
That's fine.
They have a kind of sequence in the droid factory, which is deeply stupid. I preferred it a lot better in Chicken Run.
I just wrote a lot of silly bullshit happening.
Yes.
Anakin fucking slaughters these Geonosians. Like, he cuts motherfuckers in half.
I'll say this about the factory. All of this is rotoscoped. There are no wide shots. You don't know where anything is in relation to each other. It's a very confusing sequence to follow.
It is.
R2-D2 has like rockets as a retcon.
Yeah, R2-D2 is doing his sort of bullshit.
He saves Padme from getting melted, but then they get captured. And they get taken to the Colosseum to be executed.
In front of some kind of beast firing squad, which is a really funny dynamic because they line up 3 distinct beasts while they're tied to columns. This is also where you get the obligatory I have a bad feeling about this, and it's like, of course you have a bad feeling about this, dude. You're being executed.
Yeah, man,
that's one of the points. One of the key points of being executed is to make you have a bad feeling about this.
But just before they get let out into the Colosseum, Padme's just like, I gotta tell you something. Even though you're a weird fascist virgin dork, I am actually down outrageous for you.
Fucking believe.
And it's a real shame we got captured because like I just want to like S that Darth right now, and it's a pity. But I love you, and they kiss. It's like, I don't know, when did she fall in love with him? Seems weird.
Meanwhile, a whole time
he's just
C-3PO is making noises like an edged British twink. It's unfucking believable. He's like walking through this fucking
edged British twinks that didn't make voices
like this.
Oh dear. Oh gosh. Oh no, gosh.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Who are you edging? Young Stephen Fry?
Yeah. Well, yes, first of all. This whole fucking time he's making noises.
Gosh, my goodness.
Oh gosh. No.
Well, actually, wait. No, I have edged something. Okay. Right. Well, anyway. So aside from this,
you've edged twinks. All right.
Dooku's up on the platform. He's like, yeah, the Geonosians are here. Jango Fett has brought his kid to work like Elon Musk.
Yeah, don't bring your kid to the execution. That's not appropriate.
He's like brought his kid. He's like, check this shit out. You know, he's cool.
Obi-Wan's here too. He's like, yeah, nice job rescuing me, dipshits.
Yeah, cool, everyone. Great stuff. I will say...
They released the space beasts.
Yeah, they released the beasts. First, we got 3 beasts here, first of all. We've got big kind of cow-style guy.
Yeah.
Sort of like a red, big horns,
red cow,
things of this nature.
Space cow, space rhino.
We've got, space rhino. We've got a sort
space
of
tiger.
Green, 6-legged, like insect beast kind of creature.
Space mantis.
This is my favorite.
Yeah.
Then we've got the space tiger.
Space tiger scratches Natalie Portman and gives her a very stylish crop top. Very kind of it.
First of all, I will say I've talked shit about George Lucas a lot. The bit where the space tiger scratches Natalie Portman and gives her a perfect crop top, you're cooking. You're cooking, brother.
Yeah, he was cooking there. Yeah.
No, you're talking.
That one's good. Keep it going with that.
But they break out of their cuffs and they use the space beasts to kind of like kill some of their guards. Small Geonosians get got.
Specifically, it's like Padme who like leads the escape, like sets up some hereditary Leia stuff later on. And finally, at an hour 56. The clones attack.
Not yet.
Fuck!
More.
When will the clones attack?
The clones will never attack. We'll get there.
So they kill they don't kill the beast, so they get away from the beast, and then the droids roll up to finish the job, and Count Dooku's like, nice try, motherfuckers, but you're still going to get executed. At which point Samuel L. Jackson appears, and it's like, hey, I've got a lightsaber and a bunch of Jedi cops. The FBI raid the Colosseum planet.
Yeah. A little Jedi windbreaker.
Yeah. Oh, that would go so hard.
Oh my God, hold on.
Windbreaker with Jedi on it?
Jedi is really good.
Shit, that rules.
Copyright.
We get a bit of a droids versus Jedi fight in which Samuel L. Jackson cuts Jango's head off in front of his kid. And even Christopher Lee has a reaction shot where he's like, ooh, fuck.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, getting that's a good origin story, actually. I like this.
Yeah.
Getting your dad fully decaffeinated by a Jedi in front of you is like, that's not bad.
The Jedi gets surrounded by the droids, and then it looks like they're toast, and Count Dooku's like, okay, you are all gonna die defo this time for real.
Yeah.
All the
real.
droids are like underwater villages, and at that moment, then
Underwater villages. Then the clones attack.
it's a real war of accents here.
Yoda rolls up and he goes, around the survivors, a perimeter create. Which is not the kind
barely
of thing
doing the thing.
Yoda should
Barely
be saying.
doing it. No.
For a start. He's a mischievous swamp guy, and he needs he shouldn't be a general in charge of an army.
Well, exactly. Like, so they don't just do an evac at this point. They start the Civil War.
Yeah.
They do airstrikes and shit. They just absolutely annihilate a bunch of
You've got
Geonosians.
the clone army.
As
you
the
may
Trade
well.
Federation ships are fleeing, Obi-Wan orders the clones to open fire on them. And I'm like, you the whole movie, you were like, I hope it doesn't come to Civil War. And then they're like, fucking get some! Like,
Yeah, honest to God. The second
The pull of the door gunner speaks to us all.
he rolls up with his clones, all of which have like special sort of infantry equipment, the big ships of which look suspiciously close to the sort of like big ships of the
Star
Empire.
Destroyers,
Destroyers,
Your classic Star Destroyer type shit. And Yoda, and I will fucking say this for a fact, Yoda says this.
Concentrate all your fire on the nearest starship.
First of all,
Not doing the thing.
Speak backwards, cunt. What are you talking about?
You Hysteron, Proceron motherfucker. Do the thing.
But he does sound very strained when he says that, and I'm imagining, but that is like the strain of saying it normal.
No, he's saying it backwards to him. He's getting like, he's developing a like kind of reversal in his own speech.
yeah.
To him, that sounds fucked up.
But they don't just do a kind of like lay down covering fire. They start the war. Like, they do not hesitate to let it buzz.
I'm also not thrilled by the fact that the Trade Federation guys all have Japanese accents.
Yeah.
So I will say, we get a clip of Newt Gunray, and he says the following.
This is not looking good at all.
Which I
Thank
agree
you, Newt
completely.
Gunray.
Additionally, the second guy next to him speaks normal, which... So, what is
okay,
he doing there?
There was a really funny line, like way back earlier on in the first third, where somebody says it's a travesty that like Newt Gunray has been tried by the Galactic Senate 4 times and is still head of the Trade
there's
Federation.
been like 4 impeachment proceedings
Yeah.
against Newt Gunray. And he's
Just because
still-
of his accent, he still does
I'd
it.
like to see old Newt wrangle his way out of this one.
Yeah, nevertheless.
He won't stop doing the fucking accent. We're trying to get him to stop.
That's what the impeachments were for.
Newt Gunray, by the way, a combination of Newt Gingrich and fucking Reagan.
Michael
That's a
Gunray.
classic
Yeah,
combination.
thank you, George. Thank you,
Thank you,
George.
George. Very
He
subtle.
does get brutally murdered in the third one, though. So.
Yeah, he does. No sweat about that.
So this is more of an attack with the clones than an attack of the clones.
The clones attack, but it's sort of like, it's allowed.
Stuff
Jedi
keeps
are there
happening to kind of sell toys.
You get this really insanely stupid thing where one of the Geonosians sort of wanders over and in his like accent he's talking about like, oh, we need to, like, I've got all my elite troops to hide. We need to hide that we're gonna create the Death Star.
the plans. We got to hide these plans,
Which
for
is
the Death
insanely
Star.
fucking stupid, because Andor is right. The Death Star is like an expensive boondoggle that fucked the Empire over. It's not like their ultimate plan is to create the Death Star.
Also for their day one plan to be the Death Star,
like
rather
they're
than
still doing
like
separatist shit, and they're like, down the line we are hoping to create the Death Star. You know, like, what are you talking about? No, you
And
aren't.
unless like every side was trying to build the Death Star, and it's like the A-bomb. There's just a Death Star
it's like
race happening.
Chichen Itza in fucking Civ 3. Everyone wants to build the Death Star as fast as possible.
Space Robert Oppenheimer is like working on the fusion engines or some shit.
Yeah. That's my real genuine problem with this, is that like it doesn't make any fucking sense for them for their ultimate plan to be like constructing the Death Star, which I got problems.
there's a bit of a chase. They catch up with Dooku, and we have this lightsaber duel in which Obi-Wan gets kind of like knocked down.
Well,
and then
first of
Anakin,
all, Anakin charges in first because he's hot-headed.
Yeah.
He gets hit with Sith lightning.
He gets like fucking lightninged and he falls to the side. He
And
goes,
then
"Ugh."
Dooku and Obi-Wan have a duel. Dooku fucking loves this shit. He's doing little flourishes.
He's got a special lightsaber because every cunt has a special lightsaber.
Well,
you
he's
put me in the Jedi Academy, I'm asking for normal style lightsaber just to be like, you fucking.
He's a duelist. That's why they kicked him out. Is because he loves fucking dueling. He loves that shit.
It's so much of what a Jedi fucking does, just work within the system.
Look, he's a master of Form 2 lightsaber combat, and that's not a problem with him at all. That's part of the plot. But regardless, he can't fucking do it. He keeps being like, okay, sorry, hold on. He wins this fucking lightsaber duel against Obi-Wan. Fair's fair.
Kicks his ass.
Yoda walks in. Now, in the movie that I remember watching as a child,
kicks Anakin's ass again, just for good.
Yoda starts fighting him straight away. But that's not the case in this sort of extended edition that I ended up watching for this podcast.
No,
where
this was always in there.
Yoda in his book, well, I don't recall it, but that's might be the fallibility of memory regardless. But Yoda
fallibility.
Yoda walks in there and he goes, I'm about to start lightsaber fighting you. And Dooku goes, fuck you, and starts throwing scrap at him.
Yeah, they do start throwing garbage at each other for a while.
And he tries to bring the Ruth down on him, but instead it's like 3 medium-sized rocks. And you get a sort like they're like forcing it apart from each other the whole time, and then you get the classic.
It is obvious that this contest cannot be decided by our knowledge of the Force, but by our skills with a lightsaber.
That was Christopher Lee, by the way, saying that. That was Christopher fucking Lee.
Yeah. Why do we need to see Yoda with a lightsaber? His deal was that he was a little weird mystic man.
Yoda draws his lightsaber and he makes the Yoda noise, which is this. And I love the Yoda noise so much.
Yeah.
Everyone who grew up with fucking like the Lego Star Wars knows that this is the death noise that Yoda makes. And it took me so out to hear it.
Really good. Really good.
The problem here is that our 2 main characters are lying on the floor beaten.
Yeah.
And they are not achieving any kind of like character arc through action.
No.
This should have been the other way around. You should have had Yoda come in first, get beaten, and then Obi-Wan and Anakin have to save him, and they have to overcome some character flaw in order to win the fight.
Yeah.
Like
that would be
it's in Yoda's contract that he actually can't be shown losing a fight. He can only be fought to a draw, like The Rock.
Yeah.
So
Dooku gets away.
well, no, but he cuts Anakin's fucking hand off before he does.
I already said that.
Yeah.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, he did.
don't recall
I
it.
said that before Yoda even walked in. Yes.
Oh,
he
yeah.
cuts
No, he
Anakin's
does.
hand
He
off.
does cut Anakin's hand. Anakin's hand gone. Forget it.
Cut that shit off before I walked in the door. Yeah, Anakin's hand is gone.
Cut that shit off before I
before I walked in the room.
Yeah. Again, Dooku absolutely
Just the
wants this
lightsaber
kid.
comes in through the window, cuts your arm off, like comes back out with the force.
Threw that shit before you walked in the door. I did.
This is a series of references to a film called Black Dynamite, which I highly recommend.
Black Dynamite. Sell crack to the community, I do.
The way
Green dynamite.
Okay, well, I'm gonna be rewriting that in my head.
It gives you Little Richard.
The way that Dooku escapes is by like trying to drop some garbage on Anakin and Obi-Wan, so
Yeah.
Yoda has to save them. It's classic
Another
Superman shit.
medium piece of like CG'd scraps starts to fall onto the boys, and Yoda goes, "Oh, I gotta help them."
Christopher Lee loves doing movies where he says we must join the Dark Lord. He loves doing it. He's always saying that.
He escapes in an admittedly slightly cool ship with a solar sail,
Yeah.
and then like yachts away. And he has to go and speak to Palpatine, who is like, "Build the pieces are in place for Episode 3."
Kind of like build up creepy music, red skies, and then he meets Darth Sidious, and it's fucking Ian McDermott, and he's like, the war has
It's
begun.
me all
Excellent.
along. Check this shit out. I'm wearing a hood.
The Jedi have totally beansed it, because Obi-Wan's like, yeah, cool, we won thanks to the clones. And Yoda's like, you fucking idiot, you started a war! You started a civil war! You started the Clone Wars, and now we're all gonna have to go and be cartoons!
Yoda says as much.
Begun. The Clone War has.
cool, man.
Anakin has to get engaged or married, actually, because
Anakin and Padme get married in space Italy on the shores of space Lake Como.
She's wearing a mantilla because she's Tradcath, and for some reason, his gay robot son C-3PO is his best man.
He doesn't have any fucking friends.
Everything about C-3PO is so funny to me.
Imagine C-3PO's best man speech. Just like, yeah, he did kind of make me.
Yeah. Well, he's fluent in over 6 million forms of communication. Presumably one of them is the best man speech. I bet C-3PO would do a great best man speech, actually.
He probably would, yeah.
Also, they get married, and I'm like, you're kind of rushing into that.
Calm down.
Shouldn't you date?
It's almost as if these people are like impulsive, and like kind of impulsivity will lead them to some kind of side, that involves having your hood up a lot of the time and like being very sinister.
He's 19 and she's 24 and a senator, and I'm like, I feel like you should know better.
Honest to God. Right? What are you doing, Hen?
What are you doing?
This is kind of like if AOC married a 19-year-old with a rat tail. Can you imagine Twitter's reaction to that?
It's like if AOC married Luigi Mangione. Like,
fuck.
Kind
okay.
of,
Well,
yeah.
Is that possible? Is there like some kind of congressional privilege you can use to like get him out?
I'm throwing him out a little bit because we're recording this on the 10th, and I know this comes out on the 1st of January, and I think that everything will have changed so hugely since then.
I've been thinking about nothing but that man. Yeah,
it's just inherently funny to me.
I can't believe he killed the guy who tried to ban video games from Law and Order.
And the front man of AC/DC.
That's fucking crazy that he killed John Bon Jovi.
Anyway, that's the movie, baby.
That was the movie. It felt about 4.5 hours long. I actively resented it.
It is about 2.5 hours of Star Wars.
Could have cut 20%.
Indulgent is the word I would use.
Yeah.
Indulgent.
Like a rich pudding.
Yes, yeah. And, like we say, this is the product of like one imaginative man with a large amount of resources at his disposal. I do the Stephen Jay Gould thing about Einstein here, where I'm like, if you give this to anybody else, I think you could have had a much more interesting movie. But they didn't. They gave it to George Lucas, and so you get the movie that you get.
Okay, well, it needed to be George for a start.
Yeah.
Yes.
No one else can create Star Wars.
No one's moving like this.
No one.
And really, no one else is moving like this.
Well, now, I don't agree with that.
Okay, that's fine. That's reasonable.
I think Leslie Headland can create Star Wars extremely well.
Yeah, that's true. Whoever the fuck wrote Andor
it's
does
more
great
like
Star Wars.
deriving Star Wars, or interpreting Star Wars, the sacred texts. World building.
This is the sort of testament, right? Like George Lucas is creating this Star Wars. All further Star Wars that didn't have George's that didn't have George helping with it. That's like postscript. They're trying to figure that out from past this. This is your sort of text. This is Star Wars. I don't know what I mean by this specifically.
I disagree. I like that this feels like it was made by a person. It's a little janky in places. They took a big swing on the tech, which doesn't always pay off. It's a little indulgent. It could have used an edit at the scripting stage,
it doesn't
but
ever pay off. Actually,
it's like the space Brexit stuff. I feel has aged well.
Yeah, but not just an edit. Crucially, George Lucas cannot write. Like that's a key part of the thing. And it's like, is that enjoyable or not? Depends on other factors like the acting. And in this case, no, it's not. It's not enjoyable. I didn't enjoy it.
He can write if what you
sucks.
want is lines like, "I was recruited by a man named Tyrannus on the moon of Bogdan." Like, that's the kind of thing he writes, which I do want.
Yeah, Klieg Lars, Shmi is my wife.
We do later find out that Tyrannus is Darth Tyrannus. That's Count Dooku.
Yeah, it is. It's Count Dooku.
Klieg Lars, Shmi is my wife.
Klieg Lars, Shmi is my wife.
Shmi is my wife.
And Zendaya is Michi.
Poppy Corby Tooch is Vendor.
Shmi is my wife.
Shmi is my wife.
2025.
Oh, Jesus. Welcome to 2025. They're calling it the year that came after 2024. And a lot of stuff's going to happen in it, probably.
Yeah, if we have 2024 to extrapolate from, I don't know what it's going to be like at the end of 2025. I'm hoping Kill James Bond will still be going. I'm still having fun doing
I mean,
this.
but you know what else we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing Die Hard 4.0.
Yeah,
you know? So
true.
we got that to look forward to.
Yeah, we'll be doing whatever New Year's episode you fuckers choose.
And then whatever else these awful bastards choose to inflict. This was a kind of war crime against me.
I liked it, Hogs. Thank you.
International Criminal Court should be investigating all of you, and I mean that.
Hey, I've always been a centrist. I think the International Criminal Court should be investigating you, but this was the best option out of the ones that made it to voting. You picked the right one.
Oh, God. Is that true? It might be true, because this beat Knives Out. And the problem with doing Knives Out, right, is that not only is it a good movie, but it's a well-known good movie. So we would just be doing like, hey, this movie's good, a thing everyone already knows.
Yeah, I can't do anything with Knives Out. It's fine.
Although the sabotage of doing this, right, is it conforms with the bit of doing the second movie in a series only. But it does fuck us down the line for if we ever want to do sci-fi season, because then we would, like, we're going to have to watch all the others and then go back to this and be like, here's an episode we did like 3 years ago. Because you made us for this central part of the trilogy.
It's Attack of the Clones, no notes.
Attack of the Clones, no notes. God.
Yeah, and it's just me typing on a typewriter, Klieg Lars, Shmi is my wife, over and over again.
Shmi is my wife.
Shmi is my wife. And a Shmi is my wife to you too, listener. Thank you for listening. We have a bonus feed on Patreon, which this is.
This is technically a bonus episode, but obviously since it's the New Year special, you're all getting it.
Dogs, you fucking dogs. So yeah. Thank you for subscribing to the Patreon.
I'm just taking a look at our Spotify Wrapped for creators at the moment.
Oh God. Okay.
Because we did it last year, and I'm interested in doing it. So
sure.
A couple of little facts here. First of all, our top episode for the year, and this is useful for us, it was Charlie's Angels live, the first one.
People like a live show. We got to do more.
The people love a live show, obviously.
We will.
We streamed 305% more than our average episode.
Wow.
Fucking crazy.
People want to hear about Charlie's Angels.
I hate to say this. It makes me upset. It makes me physically sick to say this, but our top country is the United States of America.
There's a lot of them.
Brutal.
But there's so fucking many of these people. We were streamed at 92 countries, but it was the US. It was US plurality even.
Incredible.
Fucking annoying.
I like America.
If you are British and you need to get more British people listening to this, get those numbers up.
All right, Gaines, new discovery, top episode, demographics, top country, listener tastes, charts, top fans.
Hit me with demographics real quick. I want to learn about these people and why they made me watch this.
All right, let's break it down.
I want to know listener taste too. What else are you fucking listening to?
All right, here we go. Listeners by age.
You've been cheating on us with other podcasts.
Here's our listeners by age. 18 to 24, 12%. 25 to 29, 35%.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about... You were born in 1990 motherfucking one. I know you.
30 to 34, 25. Falls off after 45 pretty strongly. 35 to 44, 22%.
I mean, honestly, like if you're in the older cohort, congratulations also to women. Hi.
Listeners 35 to 44 grew the most this year. That's what I'm seeing by 43%.
That's how time works, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of you got old. A lot of you hit 35, and honestly, congratulations.
Wow.
Just really insincere. Wow.
No, I actually mean that. It sounded as simple. I honestly meant it. Other than our show, all right. Number 1, Behind the Bastards. That's fair. That's reasonable.
That's popular. They're popular. Yeah. People like them.
Number 2, Lions Led by Donkeys.
Yeah,
classic.
For good reason.
2 editors of the show on that one. Number 3, There's Your Problem. That's classic. I hear the editor for that's pretty funny.
Shake hands with danger.
4, Knowledge Fight. Never heard of this in my entire life before.
I know about Knowledge Fight. I've vaguely heard of Knowledge Fight.
And number 5, Trash Future.
The
Trash Future.
Yeah,
all right, that's as far as I'm interested in getting into this.
Well, here's the thing. In future, listen to other podcasts if you want, but continue listening to us. And I hope that you have a fruitful and fun 2025. We will be back with more Oceans. It's for Oceans...
Oceans 12.
Oceans 12.
Our listeners' number one genre of music is soundtrack.
What the hell is wrong with these?
What the fuck is wrong with
They're
you
looking
people?
up the Diabolic soundtrack. It banged.
Goddamn fuck freak.
Stop listening to fucking...
Diabolical. What? Get out of here. Get out of here. We're done. We're done. We're done.
soundtrack.
Goodbye.
Misa Bustin.
Misa Bustin.
Mr. Buster.
Klieg Lars. Shmi is my wife.
Klieg Lars. Shmi is my wife.